Hey guys, TJ here from Smallmouthfreaks, and I want to introduce to you the Monster Power Harness. So here's one we just made up for a customer. Okay, this is going to be 8-gauge cable. We've got our circuit breaker, and I'll explain to you why we use that in a second here. We've got our distribution post, and in this option here, the customer picked a 6-way Blue Sea fuse box that goes up front in the bow, and I'll explain why we're using it. So let me describe what the harness is here. We've got 2 leads. We got one that goes to the console and one that goes all the way to the bow. So you got 27 feet of 8/0 gauge cable that goes up to the bow, and we've got 14 feet of 8/0 gauge cable that goes to the helm. So to the helm, it's going to be these leads. Everything's labeled. We're using distribution blocks, so you can mount your graph harnesses right to these blocks. Usually guys will run 1 or 2 at the helm, and that should be enough to connect to this. These are 1/4-inch studs, stainless steel studs. Up front, this customer chose to go with a 6-way fuse box. Up front, you know, you're running 2 or 3 graphs. You got maybe your link box, maybe some other stuff. So there's 6 distribution ports in this box that mounts up front. You can just mount that right up under your bow plate. Now let's go to the circuit breaker, and I'll show you the reasons why we're using this. This is a 60 amp circuit breaker. A lot of companies are using the on-off switches. On-off switches are cool. The only problem is now you've got all this cable running through your boat. God forbid it rubs through and it arcs out. With an on-off switch, you still have the batteries pushing power to this cable and burning down your boat. This circuit breaker acts as your on and off switch right here, as well as a circuit breaker. So if there's a problem anywhere in the harness, anywhere in the boat, that circuit breaker will kick it off. So this is going to be our basic kit with the upgrade of the fuse box. We also have an upgrade where you can run 6-gauge cable to the bow with the fuse box. Okay, so this setup here is $400 plus shipping. With the upgrade of the fuse box and the 6-gauge to the bow, we're looking at $480. This will provide pure, clean power to your graphs. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it up. I'm going to run it real quick on the side of my boat as it's simulated run, and I will get the voltage meter, and I'll show you guys the voltage at the battery and all the way up at the harness, so we can see what we got. All right, let me set that up, and I'll get right back with you. Okay, guys, so here we're going to do a voltage test. I have a simulated hookup. We have the battery in the back. We've got our leads going to the bow and our leads going to the console. So what I'm going to do is I'll do a voltage check at the battery, and we'll do a voltage check at the console and one up at the bow, and I'll show you the voltage that we have. Okay, I'm going to hand the camera off. Turn the harness on. Okay, so if you can just keep an eye on the screen. And here's our starting voltage. 13.2 we're going with. All right, let's go to the bow. Now this is a 14-foot run. Okay, watch that screen. 13.3, 13.2. We're bouncing between 13.2 and 13.3. Same as the battery. Now we're going up front, which is a 27-foot run. I give you a little bit of extra room for routing this wire. And here we go. 13.3. So we have the same voltage. So we're not losing any voltage over the length of the boat, which is the main problem with your stock harnesses or smaller harnesses. Some companies are using 10-gauge, which 10-gauge will suffice, but if you start hooking up 2 or 3 big graphs up on the bow, you're going to lose voltage. So there's the difference, guys. Smallmouthfreaks Monster Power Harness. Check us out on IG.